Chapter 3. Look out! Inky, Rachel called as she and Kirsty pushed their way through the crowd. Is that you? Who's that? Called out a tiny voice. Inky was standing by the edge of the lemonade fountain. She had neat blue-black hair and twinkling dark blue eyes. She was dressed in indigo jeans and a matching jacket that was covered with sparkly patches. Her wand was indigo tipped with silver. The fairy stared at Rachel and Kirsty with her hands on her hips. Who are you, she asked, and how do you know my name? Oh, I'm Kirsty and this is Rachel, Kirsty explained. We've come to take you back to your rainbow sisters. We've found 5 of your sisters so far, Rachel said. We're going to help you get home to fairyland. Oh, that's wonderful news, Inky cried. I've been so worried about them. How did you get to the land of sweets? Kirsty asked. The wind blew me down the chimney from the mermaid cottage and then into the Nutcracker book, Inky replied. I've been in the land of sweets ever since, but I can't get back to fairyland and break Jack Frost's spell without my sisters. I have to get back to Rainspell Island first. Before Rachel and Kirsty could say anything, the crowd started shouting again. Look at what she did to the lemonade fountain, grumbled one elf. Inky grinned at him. Well, I didn't mean to, she said. The lemonade looks so yummy. I just had to have a drink, and, well, that's when it turned indigo. And what about my bow tie? Snapped Buttons. He had followed Kirsty and Rachel over to the fountain. I was really tired of walking through the forest, Inky explained, and I tried to use your bow tie as a pillow when I took a little nap. The crowd started muttering angrily again. Quickly, Rachel stepped between them. Wait, she said. Have you all heard about the rainbow fairies and Jack Frost's spell? The crowd listened as Rachel told them the whole story, and when she finished, they didn't look angry anymore. I'm so sorry for all the trouble that I've caused, Inky said. Can you please tell me how to get back to Rainspell Island? The Sugar Plum Fairy can help you, said the Jack-in-the-Box with a little bounce. Her home is just past the jelly bean fields. Well, that's where we're going, Kirsty said. Well, come on then, Inky cried, and she jumped forward and took Rachel and Kirsty by the hand. Good luck, everyone called. Rachel and Kirsty walked along the road toward the jelly bean fields, while Inky darted out eagerly ahead of them. Just outside the village was a huge rock made of hardened caramel. It was as tall as the marshmallow house. Elves were tapping at the rock with their little hammers to break off pieces. Other elves picked up the pieces and then put them into the silver bucket. Kirsty nudged Rachel. That looks like hard work, she said. They don't seem to be collecting much caramel at all. Rachel peeked into one of the buckets as an elf walked past. Kirsty was right. There were only a few chips of caramel in it. Is there something wrong with the caramel? Inky wondered. The elf with the bucket overheard her. It's just really hard today, he grumbled. It almost seems like it's been, frozen. Frozen? Kirsty said in alarm. Do you think that means that Jack Frost's goblins are here, in the land of sweets? The girls knew that wherever the goblins were close by, they brought frost and icy weather. Inky looked scared. Oh, I hope not, she said. Just then, a loud rumbling noise made the girls jump. Look out! Someone cried. An enormous wooden barrel was rolling down the street, right towards them, and running behind it were 2 goblins with big, mean grins on their faces. The next chapter, chapter 4, is called Stop Those Goblins. Chapter 4, Stop Those Goblins. We've got you now, Inky, shouted one of the goblins. For a minute, everyone froze. Then Inky leapt into action and gave Rachel and Kirsty a push. Quick, get out of the way, she yelled. The girls jumped aside just in time. The elves dropped their hammers and their buckets. They ran out of the way, too, bumping and crashing into each other in their panic. Crash! The barrel smashed right into a caramel mountain, and then it cracked open and cocoa powder spilled out into a sticky brown cloud. Inky, Kirsty, Rachel coughed, digging her way through the cocoa. Are you okay? I think so, Kirsty sneezed. Achoo! Help! Kirsty heard Inky's frightened voice, but she couldn't see her through the cocoa cloud. Help! Inky shouted again. The goblins, they've got me! Her voice was getting fainter. Quick, Rachel, Kirsty said. Do you still have the magic bags? Still coughing, Rachel swung her backpack around. Titania, the fairy queen, had given the girls bags full of magic gifts to help them rescue the missing rainbow fairies. Rachel opened the backpack. Inside of it, one of the magic bags was glowing. Rachel pulled out a folded paper fan from the bag. Puzzled, she opened the fan. It looked like the most beautiful rainbow she had ever seen. It had stripes of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Rachel thought for a moment, and then she began to flap the fan at the clouds of cocoa, and whoosh! A blast of air from the fan blew almost all the cocoa away. Wow, that fan is amazing, Rachel said as the last of the cocoa drifted off. Look, Rachel, shouted Kirsty. They're over there. The goblins had tied Inky's sneakers together with strawberry licorice. They were dragging her up the road toward the jelly bean fields. We've got to save her, Rachel said, quickly folding the fan and putting it back in her pocket. Come on, Kirsty. I'll go and tell the sugar plum fairy that said one of the elves, and he ran off in the other direction. Rachel and Kirsty ran up the road after Inky. The goblins had a head start, but Inky was wiggling and squirming so much that they were slowing down. The road led right through the jelly bean fields. Tall green plants stood in rows, each one covered with different colored jelly beans. Pink, white, blue spotted, chocolate brown ones. Elves were picking the jelly beans and putting them into big baskets. Suddenly, Rachel noticed that the goblins were looking greedily at the jelly beans as they ran by with Inky. One of them skidded to a halt. He leaned over the fence and grabbed a big jelly bean from the nearest plant. The other goblin did the same. Yummy, said the first goblin, stuffing the bean into his mouth. You are so greedy, Rachel panted. Yeah, hey, but that gives me a really good idea on how we could trick him, Kirsty puffed, and she started to run even faster. The elves working in the field yelled at the goblins, but that didn't stop them. They gobbled down one bean after another. They picked one up with one hand and held on to the Inky with the other hand. I have an idea, Rachel whispered to Kirsty. On one side of the road, she could see a basket full of jelly beans that had already been picked. She hurried over and grabbed the basket, and then she held it towards the goblin. Look what I have, she said. A whole basketful full of beans.